Hey guys, Dr. Anderson here. I'm going to talk to you today about your restless legs. And I'm going to ask you a question. The question is, are you asking the right questions about your restless legs? And for many of you, I don't think you are. I don't know even if you know where to start by asking the right questions about your restless legs, because you're basically being told that there's not much you can do. You're basically being told in a lot of areas of medicine that it's something that you maybe have to take a drug for. And I'm going to ask you again, but are you asking the right questions? I'll give you an example, and I'm going to go back probably about 25 years, 20 to 30 years, and tell you a little story. There's a doctor back at Johns Hopkins. He's a professor of neurosurgery, plastic surgery, Dr. Lee Dillon. And back then, he mainly, and before then, he did lots of surgeries on the hands. Did surgery for carpal tunnel, ulnar nerve in the elbow, all these nerves up here that cause symptoms of burning, tingling, numbness. And most of the time, the surgeries would be successful, and patients would then inquire, will you help me up here? I've got similar symptoms in my feet and legs. Can you help me down there? And he'd say, no. There's nothing you can do. That's probably neuropathy. And, oh, by the way, if it gets really bad, you might want to see your family doctor, maybe see a neurologist. They may have to put you on medication, because some people have to be medicated. But as of now, there's nothing you can do. We don't know why you get it and what you can do for it. But it made him try to figure out this question. He wanted to try to answer the question, because these patients were asking a very, if you think about it, kind of a common sense thing. If you have these nerve symptoms up here and you have them down here, why does there have to be a different set of rules? And so he started to ask the question, maybe there's something we can do here. So he did some very good basic science research on animals and started to do surgery on patients with diabetic neuropathy. And he was reversing diabetic neuropathy. And so I was one of the first 40 doctors that he trained many years ago, over 20 years ago. So I always like to say the universe was asking him a question. And I'm challenging you with your restless legs. Maybe the universe hasn't tapped on your shoulder and asked you this question. Why is it in the restless legs problem that it's usually in the lower extremity, it's usually from the knee down? Why is it that it's always been thought, and all you ever hear about is a lot of it's in your brain, it's dopamine, and it has to do with the neurotransmitter dopamine, or maybe it has to do with iron. And there's a little evidence, a little bit of dopamine levels needing to be higher for helping with your restless legs. And I'm not here to dispute that these medications are of no use, but the right question hasn't been asked. And occasionally we have people that have already asked the right question, but very, very few do. So several years ago, probably about 11 years ago, I started to notice in the lower extremity, the people that I was doing surgery on for neuropathy, some of them had restless leg symptoms. And with the discovery of one or two more tunnels, the question became, well, if you can reverse burning, tingling, numbness like Dr. Dillon did with neuropathy, why isn't it that maybe restless legs, which for many of you is just in the legs, it's not anywhere else, it's predominantly in the legs, why can't it be there? Can't the cause of the issue be locally in the legs? So I'm disputing conventional medicine. I'm saying to you, the question is, why isn't the brain? No, it can be mechanics. It can be tight nerve tunnels in the legs can create your symptoms of restless legs. And we see it all the time, almost every week. We have people that have restless legs reversal right here in our surgical center. And going back a few years, I believe this was 2017, I should remember this. 2017, published a paper about reversal of restless legs. And in here, you can go to our website and you can find it on a page we have in there about our research. And you can see the results. You don't have to read all this, but just look at the dark bars. Those are the symptoms before. And the grayer bars are the symptoms afterwards. This is from multiple patients. I think it was around 30-some patients. Not a huge study, but it was the first initial study to show subjectively, that's subjective evidence, that these patients were doing much better after restless leg surgery. We have a second paper right now that we've been submitted for publication. Hopefully it'll get published also. But so there's some evidence here that's been published, peer-reviewed study. So, and that goes back to 2017. So that's what, 8 years ago? 7 years ago? But anyway, my point is that you maybe don't ask the right question. And so I'll never forget this patient. I think the patient's name was Dave or David from California. And I'm just thinking about it as I'm doing this video that they came here. I think they called us like within a day of seeing some information about this on YouTube, because the wife was so strong about this. She's like, this makes total sense. His symptoms are in the legs. So why are we looking at all this other stuff? Why can't the problem be there? And some of you even have symptoms. You have painful areas in the legs where these nerve tunnels reside. And pretty much you tell me this story of, well, it bothers me here, or maybe it's in my calf, or it's right above my ankle. That happens to be where the symptoms are. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail in this video about why this works for most of you and all that. That we can do in some other videos. But I just want you to start thinking about why it is like it is in the world right now, and why this hasn't been looked at, and why a lot of cases Big Pharma doesn't want you to know this, frankly, because they have you thinking, and they have you going down this other rabbit hole over here about your drugs. You must be on drugs. That's the way to treat it. You have to do it systemically. It's something else out there, and we're going to treat it centrally with your brain. Or maybe it's iron levels, all these things, when in fact, it can be, and for most of you it is, in fact, the problem is in the legs, and you can end the problem by solving the problem, by directing your attention to these pathways, these neural pathways in your legs that do become tight. We do it all the time. So there's hope for you. And I'm not saying I help everybody, but I'm saying I am on these videos constantly, talking about it, teaching you about it, because it provides you another option to get you off those drugs, to get you off propinerol, to get you off Mirapex, and all the nasty things that they can sometimes do to you, and all the nasty things that might happen if you have to try to get off of them when our surgeries work. So, and succeed. So, I really want you to pay attention to this from now on. If you watch this video, please start asking the right questions. Start asking, why am I not hearing about this? Because you're not. And I think you can answer that question pretty easily after you start learning and digging into a lot of these videos, a lot of testimonials that we have. And please consider reading my book that's called A Perfect Night's Sleep. You can get it on Amazon. It's a really excellent source for you to learn a little bit more about how I came about this and exactly why it works. Has, I think, a pretty good mixture of my story and also testimonials and some good research information data to share with you. So thank you for watching. Please share this with some of the other people that you might know. We're on Facebook. You might want to go there. We've got some good information. And please consider reading my book. So this is Dr. Jim Anderson, Anderson Podiatry Center. Please subscribe, and thank you for watching.